Good morning and welcome to the January 28th, 2026 SPIT Committee meeting. Time is 8:04 and I will call this meeting to order. Our first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the October 2022nd, 2025 meeting. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. And now this brings up our strategic plan 2031 with Dr. Bashan Harris.
I think Dr. Houlihan's gonna tee this off and then Dr. Harris will pick up with the PowerPoint that's in your meeting materials.
Okay, however y'all want to do it.
All right, good morning. So I want to give a little bit of some background information on this item. As you may remember, back in 2017-18, we launched a new comprehensive strategic plan for UCPS. That plan was actually set to expire at the end of the 2023 school year, but when the pandemic hit, we took a pause in order to focus our efforts on having school. And during that time, the board gave us multiple extensions to that plan, which brings us to today. And as you'll hear and see in a few minutes, we actually began working on the new strategic plan in 2024. For the last 2 years, we've had multiple stakeholder events, focus group meetings. We've collected a lot of data, and we've developed what I'm calling basically our 2026 strategic plan executive summary, which is what we're presenting today. This is a very high level overview and simply a presentation. The actual full plan will be a multi-page document. It will be much more detailed for internal and external public consumption. And in addition, when we operationalize the new plan, we will be coming to SPTT and the board with a detailed monthly update on each theme, and we'll do that on a rotating basis. I also want to know, both the board and the public, that we worked on the development of the new strategic plan. That was all done internally. We did not spend any funding on this work other than staff time and resources, and we did not hire any consultants or external firms to assist us. Dr. Harris has led this work for us over the past year or so, and I want to thank him for his leadership. He is going to present this morning, and we'll take any feedback or questions at the end of the presentation. So Dr. Harris, I'll turn it to you, and we'll be off and running.
Outstanding. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Houlihan and board members. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. And as Dr. Houlihan mentioned, I'm very happy to present this document to everybody today. However, I just want to be sure to say that this is not my document. I sort of led the efforts, but this has a lot of fingerprints all over it from the community, from our organization, and I'm very proud of the feedback that we received from this document. So I wanted to just put that out there. All right, let's see if I can't do slides here. All right, we'll jump right into it. Today we're going to be talking about these 4 items. We're going to be talking about stakeholders. We mentioned that earlier with timelines. We're going to talk about the vision statement and the mission statement, the what and the how, strategic priorities, and next step for implementation. All right, this project started with a survey that was sent out 2 years ago, receiving around 500 different responses. We're very happy and with the responses that we received, and we compiled information from those responses to bring us to the strategic plan. We've had 40 plus meetings to get to this point. Of course, we got information from the Superintendent's Advisory Council, which includes teachers, parents, and educators, several cabinet meetings as well. We have a 23-member strategic plan development committee that sort of helped put this together. And we also had leadership meetings dealing with our priorities, which we'll get into a little bit later in this presentation. We thought it was very important for you guys to see who was really involved in the 23-member strategic plan committee. These are not all assistant superintendents sitting in central services, but it's a myriad of different folks that really contributed to the success of this strategic plan. This group of people were our school and community representatives. Of course, we see assistant principals. And these parents that you see here are parents that came from different levels. So we have high school representation, middle school, and elementary school. Of course, all clusters were represented and all schools were represented, but we did ask these folks to be a part of the development of this plan and this process. And of course, the strategic plan is nothing without our kids. So we did ask some of our high school folks to be a part, kids to be a part of the development of the strategic plan. All right, I'm gonna go through this pretty quickly with regards to the roadmap. Like I said, we started this a couple of years ago with the survey. We developed the survey, and after we compiled all that information, we developed priorities from the information we captured from the survey. We then presented that information to cabinet members, and we've been tweaking that information for a couple of months. And now we're at the point where we're able to submit this information to the SPIT committee and hopefully to the Board of Education. And again, these are all the folks that really contribute to the organization of the strategic plan. This is information from the survey data that we compiled. On the left-hand side, you see, I call them buckets or themes. These are the things that came up most prevalently within the survey data. So I can give you an example. On the left-hand side, you see safe and supportive culture. Of course, that's number one. On the right-hand side, these are the details based on those themes. So mental health was a major thing that kept repeating itself in the survey. And I'm not going to read each one to you, but as you can see, you have your themes on one side and examples of those themes on the other side. All right, with regards to our new vision statement, preparing all students for college, career, and life. And our mission statement, provide high quality education and a safe learning environment for all students every day. So the priorities that we came up with are as follows: safe and supportive culture, academic success, innovation, and future ready, recruitment, retention, and family community partnerships. These are the priorities that we'll be following for this strategic plan moving forward. So as I mentioned, the strategic plan had several priorities. Each one of these slides moving forward will define what those priorities are. So as you know, at the top, you see the priority. The paragraph sort of explains what the priority is. So what will we do? We will provide a safe, supportive environment with support of law enforcement and other community members. And the bullets tell us how we're going to do that. I'm not going to read each bullet to you, but example, we're going to do that by providing a safe school environment that supports learning, that supports mental health and emotional awareness, that proactively provides intervention and wraparound services. So it just gives explanation on why the priority is important. Moving forward, this is the academic slide or priority. Again, the paragraph explains what we're going to do and how we're going to get there. Advancing teaching and learning, innovative programming, and academic support for all students, to summarize. And how are we going to do that? By providing high quality instruction, leading to growth across all contents. Something else that came up that was very prevalent in the survey was, of course, recruitment and retention. The summary of that: recruiting and retaining effective educators to invest in our classified groups and all groups. And of course, the highlight for this is to attract sustain, and hire effective employees for our organization. And the final priority, parent and community engagements. And we're going to do this by strengthening student success by active two-way communication. And how are the bullets? By strengthening partnerships with families, educators, and community members. And that's a very high level summary of the strategic plan. Next, we would like to present this to the full board. Tahira's team will design a final plan for the public-facing final plan. And finally, we will present this final plan to all partners using different sites, websites, newsletter, videos, and a one-pager. And that is the overview.
Dr. Harris, I have a question.
Absolutely.
Slide 14, the third bullet, implement early intervention strategies and wraparound services. Can you just provide an example of what that's stating?
Certainly. So what we're talking about with that is mainly counselors came up in the overview and the survey. Social workers came up as an example. There was a real ask for those type of services to connect with academics, but outside of academics as well.
Mr. Morial, this also points to the partnership we have with Union County. We call it the Collaborative that started back in 2017. That is our partnership with our mental health therapists, our social workers that are across all 9 clusters.
Okay. And then on the recruitment and retention, I know some of this is out of our control, which we've been talking about with teacher pay, and we continue to advocate for higher teacher pay. I do see, like on our HR updates for those, those leaving, that there are some reasons around that. I'm assuming we're capturing all that, analyzing it, looking at the insight that it provides as far as other ways to retain besides just teacher pay. So that's really the premise behind this, right? Is what can we do? What can we continue to do culturally while also advocating for higher pay? Is that how I should read this?
Absolutely. I think Dr. Plouffe is putting in some measures to capture that information, then analyzing that information, and then implementing certain strategies to effectively keep and retain our teachers.
Yeah, so moving forward, when you look at the second bullet, increase educator retention rates, when Dr. Plouffe and his team, they'll be owning this, right? This is their work. They'll be using the data you mentioned and other information to create what I would call some sub bullets, right? Some very specific strategies that will include advocating for increased compensation, but also other strategies. And then that would be reported back to SPTT and the board as to what we're actually doing to implement this and to focus on that specific item.
Okay. And then one last question on the next steps. You have design final plan in February, March that assumes the board approves. What are we looking at for implementation? Like, is it March basically that we're implementing it?
Yes, I would say that once the full board approves kind of what I'm calling this executive summary, or gives us the direction to move forward, we would begin implementation in March. We'd create that. We're not going to wait till the end of the school year, right? We're going to go ahead and begin implementation. And I've asked that we create an implementation roadmap for the SPTT committee and the board that will be communicated to you all.
Great. Thank you. That's all the
I have a
questions I
question
have.
too, kind of regarding Joe's last question, design final plan. So we approve in February. I guess we're kind of approving the meat of the plan and not necessarily, you said Tahira might design the final plan, is that like just kind of like polishing it up for a public facing plan?
That is correct.
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Well,
I
thank
have
you very
none.
much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harris.
Hey, Dr. Harris.
All right, this
So I believe we have action
you-
on this,
Yeah,
right,
this is
Matt? Do
action
you
on
want-
this. We'll need a motion to approve this, to send to the full board.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes 4-0. All right, now we're on to closing items. Information to be taken to the full board is what we just heard with the strategic plan. That will be on our agenda for the next board meeting. And our next meeting is scheduled for February 25th, 2026 at 8 a.m. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Prior to
So-
doing that, Mr. Helms, can we clarify, do you want this as a standalone item on the board's agenda? Or would you like it under the consent agenda?
It could be under, well, let's do a standalone on this one, just because I think it's very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I was going to say staff is prepared
Open.
to have a standalone presentation if that's the will of
Yeah.
of the committee.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are
Thank you all.
adjourned. Thank you, everyone.